back, makes high ground defense really easy. He's one of the few heroes that can take Ancients really effectively, and he can initiate probably better than any other hero in the game, I think. And they take a Fade on top of that, so that just says massive map control. And D-Dog, they love running their dual core setup. Wouldn't be surprised to see them pick a hard carry type to just complement the Pebbles and the Fades map control.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did see the support Fade a little bit earlier on today, so it could even be that, allowing for a nice scaling setup with a couple of strong stuns. On the other side, we see Midas, what we've kind of considered maybe to be the breakout hero of the tournament. And he's definitely been doing very well for himself in the middle lane. We just saw him play to near perfection in that last BMG game. But on the other side, something that's going to shut him down with a strong silence, the Dark Lady.
Yep, I should have probably just predicted that would be the pick, in all honesty. They really like the hero.
Why didn't you?
It's very popular. We saw HBX take out Sync with it, and it's super strong in the Thai meta. It's one of the few heroes, and I banned it for quite a while when I was captaining Stay Green, because while we had a lot of success against hard carry type heroes, Dark Lady is unique in that his ultimate gives him such a massive team fight presence, you know, and especially a team like us, Stay Green, or really any team that plays around one another. When you don't have vision from your teammates, you can't fight nearly as effectively. It's honestly, you don't know what to do. You just end up standing still and hoping that there's a hero in front of you to start attacking. But and he scales so well. In my opinion, the hardest scaling carry in the game. And it's just good. You can't even. He's also one of the best laning heroes too. Like, you go 3 aggressive. Oh, I can't win a tri-lane. I have a Dark Lady. That's fine. You just leave him. He CS's with Hatchet Throw and Taint Soul, and you can't even shut him down as hard as you would say a Mage Bane. So I really like the pick, and they're going to go Panda to try and help counter that, but I'm not so sure that'll work out for them.
It's kind of a risky pick right there. And I mean, if the Panda is able to get a Shrunken Head off and then is able to lock down this Dark Lady, it can absolutely just demolish her. She can be killed very quickly in that long town. But for the early stages of the game, if the Dark Lady's able to get a little bit of a snowball, get ahead of the Panda, Panda can be in a pretty bad position himself. And of course, Panda being played likely by Cheetahwan here in that middle lane. He is a prolific Panda player and has been known to play just one of the most devastating here in Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I will say they take out Tempest and Ophelia on D-Dog in the second phase of bans. Definitely good choices. The only real way I see them coming to a disadvantage after this draft is if they allow MRR to just pick a very tempo-based mid-game lineup that also enables them to take towers and map control. And those are really the heroes you have to worry about. Parasite's not too bad, and they don't really mind if there's a Parasite pick because they'll have such strong dual lanes, both safe and mid. The only thing they're really worried about is heroes that can just push down their throat, shove towers, take objectives, and force them to fight before the Dark Lady can get online.
Do you worry about a Balfagor here in the last pick?
I mean, if I were captaining, yes, but I don't know if MRR is proficient with that hero. I still think he's got a lot of potential, and I'm surprised we haven't seen him in any high-tier matches at this event, but it's something you'd have to practice, and you'd need a player who is confident on the hero. The other thing is that you have to keep in mind this is game 1 of the semifinals. Balfagor is a really all-in strategy, and while I think that's what's necessary, I mean, that's what I would do. You've got 4 melee heroes, one of which is a Dark Lady. Their only anti-push at the moment is, you know, a Pebbles, and I just don't see any way for this Legion D-Dog lineup to stop an all-in push strat. So I'd be okay with the Balfagor. They could run, I mean, Keeper of the Forest is still up. You could just finish this draft with SR, Keeper, or any one of a number of heroes that fulfill the same role and just go. And I don't know if D-Dog would be able to stop them, but we'll see what they choose to do. They go for the Silhouette instead.
So it doesn't look like they're actually going to be going for that all-in push. Both of these teams do tend to play a little bit more of the same style. I think that ACER Dog has been lately playing a little bit more refined version of that style, making sure to wait for their opponents to make mistakes and then punishing them, hoping that their later game scaling lineups tend to pay off. And there it is, Andromeda. So it is actually going to indeed be a support Fade with likely an offlane Kraken right here. We saw Neversay playing the offlane Kraken yesterday, and today we're going to actually be seeing Bod Bots for this team. Yesterday, the offline Kraken didn't have a lot of potential impact.
Yeah, he really had no impact whatsoever, Beef. I don't know if the lane he'll be up against is super strong, but I just wanted to make a quick comment. The last time I saw Dark Lady versus Silhouette at a LAN Finals was DreamHack Winter 2012, and TDM was able to take out Complexity. Haxer playing the Dark Lady just got not enough space because of the tree pick by Minuts. And I think that that's what's missing from MRR's draft right now. They have an engineer in place of that keeper, and that's so much more difficult to press towers and take those team fights. And I feel like D-Dog is just going to give him the runaround, much like we saw HBX give Sync earlier in the group stage yesterday.
Well, we will see. Game 1 of this semifinal starting up. The guys from Dog coming in here as the the higher seed. They were able to take their group 4-0 as opposed to 3-1 for MRR, but these are two teams that are very familiar with one another. The guys from Dog actually winning the Taihan Tour season, MRR being second place. MRR, I believe, has won something around 8 second places at major finishes over the last year and a half.
Poor guys. I think that's
Poor
almost
guys
worse
indeed.
than losing the group stage, just finishing second constantly. Yeah, we have a quick pause coming out, standard LAN. Looks like we'll be underway soon. I think MRR might just be taking a strat pause. Oh, and a group hug. I like it. I approve of this 100%. They, they're getting the team chemistry going and they're getting hyped, and I think that's what's necessary. You got to get your energy level up at a LAN, otherwise you're just gonna falter.
Yep, they talk about momentum. You talk about momentum quite a bit here, and of course, these guys being their first games of the day, but they've been doing a little bit of scrimming. I know that the guys from Sync actually were scrimming with Dog earlier, and Sync were proud to come back and report that not only did they want to make sure that they could beat them on LAN, but they did. They did beat them in the scrims earlier, so, I mean, maybe the guys from Dog maybe even a little bit shaken right there, losing some games to Sync, or do you think they were just wanted to warm up?
I don't think it matters. In fact, I think that benefits D-Dog more than if they'd won. Probably revealed some holes in their strategies, and in my opinion, it's like I said this yesterday. The more recently a loss you can learn from when you come up to a big match, the better. And we know that Sync is eliminated, but I don't think there are many people who would argue that they weren't the best team. Restating, Sync is still the best team here. They got eliminated in group stage, but I think if you put them up against any team here, 20 matches, they'll come out winning a minimum of 12-13. And there's no better practice than Sync, even though they did not make the day 2 event.
Well, looks like we will have the Pebbles going into the middle lane. Bought the boots, gonna go ahead and sell them. So going for efficiency. I mean, he's not even looking to actually drop any wards or anything like that. He just actually wants to get out into the middle of the map and make sure to provide a little bit of vision just with his face, and maybe even spot what opponent he might have. He's going up the enemy river. What is he doing?
Oh, no, yeah.
Oh, wow, knocking down trees. So he'll walk all the way to town and regen?
Yeah, it's really interesting. I've seen multiple heroes do that, but it just gives you a little more vision when you're sitting on the high ground, and it makes it a lot harder for Hellborn gankers to roam out of their own woods. So I don't mind it. I think the other thing is that is about enough space to get Veiled Rop to pop before you come into the area of the tree. So in essence, they get to see them a good second and a half earlier, and maybe that Veiled Rot gank isn't effective because they can see it from the full distance where it will break, which I believe is 1,000 units.
Definitely shows you the experience of these teams over here.
Definitely.
The guys like ACER, Dog, I mean, they're the newcomers on the Thai scene, but they had a meteoric rise in the scene, and shows you why. They're willing to put in the time in the bottom lane. Fade hopped into the trees to grab a really nice lane ward, one that's not likely going to be countered in that position. Unfortunately, though, it's not really going to provide a lot of vision on the left side, but this is going to be a try v try matchup.
Yep. And I think that the Panda tri lane is significantly stronger here, and I would not be surprised to see Fade and Andromeda just start roaming around, and as we said earlier in the draft, just leave the Dark Lady to get what CS he can. Rhapsody Engineer Panda is a very, very fearsome tri lane. The Rhapsody Engineer supports output so much damage and stun that I don't think that this Legion double melee lineup can really compete against them. Their solo lanes, mid should be handily won by Midas, in my opinion. And then top, you've got a Kraken versus a Silhouette, another matchup that the Hellborn heroes should be able to take fairly easily. So lane advantage, if it maintains this pace, should go pretty favorably for MRR. But I do believe D-Dog's lineup will hit a much stronger mid-game timing, and I also believe that they win the late game as well. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. We saw Bad Bats play a really nice fade earlier, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a lot of impact here. We have a DC, so a little bit of a break once again.
Sure.
And although I will say, if it comes down to this 3v3 lane actually maintaining as it is, this will be the lane that decides the game.
It certainly does seem like it will be that way. Now, right now we have the Midas taking on the Pebbles in the middle lane. That's a pretty interesting matchup with, of course, the high armor from your Midas and the range. How is Pebbles actually going to do anything here without having to bring support in from the other lanes?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. It's going to be really difficult for him. And I'm actually surprised that they last picked Andromeda. I imagine it's just for the swap. It's one of the few things. Actually, yeah, it makes sense because it actually breaks Panda's ultimate. And it's just a really nice to have when you have a Dark Lady, just to keep him secured. But the Pebbles doesn't really have any follow-up whatsoever. There's a fade, sure, but it's not really realistic to expect that Fade will just find somebody to set up for your PK stun and then he'll be able to follow up. That's why I always preferred to run heroes, Nymphora, Torturer, Pebbles, Engineer, just with a follow-up stun from range that allowed the gank to be a lot stronger, because Andromeda's stun range is, I believe, 500, and that's just really mediocre. And he might have a difficult time getting any help in this lane, especially when you consider that Midas has an escape mechanism. I don't know if Pebbles Andromeda will have the damage to kill him until Pebbles is at least level 5, and by then he'll have the lane thoroughly lost.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, having to pull that Andromeda away from the tri lane is once again going to give advantage to the Pandemonium, whereas Midas needs no help whatsoever. I mean,
Correct.
He doesn't need the NG, he doesn't need the Rhapsody making his way on over there, so definitely strong early game here for MRR, and I think that you're right that they have the strong mid game and late game timings here for the guys on D-Dog. But if you have proper execution from this Pandemonium Midas for Roam, create space for the Silhouette, while Silhouette is split pushing, that's definitely a strong win condition.
Oh, I would agree 100%. My thing is, I just don't know. It'll be tough. They need to get ahead and then stay ahead, and that is possible, but it's so difficult to play a game based on map control and favorable team fights against the Fade. And D-Dog is very solid at their rotations, and I'm not sure that they'll give them the openings to take fights when they're in a weaker position. And again, if you look at MRR's lineup, they don't have any way to just shove towers. Sure, they've got the disco floor from Rhapsody, but that doesn't really help or accelerate your push.
Sure.
It's just going to be heroes auto-attacking the tower, and that might work for tier 1s, but once you get to the tier 2s, it's just so difficult, especially when you're up against the Pebbles and a Kraken. Once they get their blinks, pushing tier 2s becomes hard, let alone trying to go high ground, and eventually that's what they're going to need to do with no real mechanism to assist them in that aim.
It's just going to be the damage from Silhouette. Their other two cores really don't pump out the damage. Maybe you go in Sanitarius or something on Panda, but ultimately he ends up generally going a lot of defensive items and maybe a mobility item, something like that portal key, getting the Shrunken Head on top of there, and even occasionally something like a Null Stone. So he's never going to be really clicking particularly hard. It's mostly the Silhouette.
In the past, we actually have seen him go Helm of the Black Legion, which could be very interesting, but again, I just feel like they'd be making the same error that Sync made in that game we saw yesterday against Myth, where they picked up 2 Helms and an Icon and then just said, hey, we're going to go start pushing.
Didn't hit their timing. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, they hit their timing, but
they tried. Yeah.
That doesn't matter because you have no way to press your advantage. Yeah, they can't win a fight, so they're just not going to. And I don't think D-Dog, they won their Group A. I don't think that they're going to make that error. And as soon as they get blinks or PKs on the Pebbles and the Kraken, Dark Lady's going to have all the space in the world, and it's just going to be a really tough match for MRR. They need to dominate this laning phase, which should begin shortly as we've just had the Engineer reconnect.
The double plus signs have dropped, followed by the boxes of doom. Wait. Nope. Not going to be going just yet, but in any case, I'm looking forward to this match, Spindle.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a big fan of stun-heavy compositions, and this Pandemonium Midas, it's got me excited, man.
We'll see. I'm not sold, but both lineups, they're just a little odd to me. I will say that I think D-Dog made really good choices by banning Ophelia Tempest, and I'm still kind of flabbergasted that none of these teams are first three-ing jungle heroes. I've seen them have so much success at this event, and I'm surprised. I feel like the Hellborn lineup would just be, I give them a major advantage if they just have a jungler instead of one of these supports, but maybe they'll prove me wrong, dominate this tri-lane, take the game, but they definitely have an uphill battle to fight.
They do indeed, but already the Andromeda making her way toward the middle lane. And looks like she was just doing a little bit of stacking, so did get the stack on her way, but yeah, making her way toward the middle lane. So it's not even going to be a tri-lane. It's now going to be 2v3, and the 3, of course, being a very strong kill potential lane.
Indeed. They do have a lane ward, which I really like, and it's just out of range of the sentry placed by MRR. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just ditch the Dark Lady. He would like to get level 2 first so he can start CSing from range, but there's just no point in the Fade being here other than to maybe just serve as a buffer, make sure he doesn't go down. There's a little bit of initiation.
Yeah, gets the stun out on Pandemonium. Dark Lady still taking a little bit of damage from the Rhapsody and Engineer's right clicks. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, Midas had his potion forced out, as well as 2 of the Blightstones. So he's actually down pretty far when it comes to regen. Gonna need to get that early bottle. And in the top lane, Kraken is gonna have to use his health potion down to just 1 Blightstone as well. Pulling up the damage chart, you can see Silhouette's been pounded in those autos.
Yeah, for sure. This is a very tough lane for Kraken. Andrew's doing his best to help secure the lanes for his cores. He definitely helped out Pebbles quite a bit there. He's actually at 11-5. Midas only 6-1, and that's so huge for Pebbles. He has his combo now, so Midas has actually got to be fearful now of a gank from this Andromeda, and he actually got an Invis rune top, so he's going to actually initiate on the Silhouette. I don't believe Kraken was just quite ready for that. I think that might be a kill if he allows Kraken to run up and go for the charge. Silhouette did not skill his W, which they should know because at level 3 he had 2
bottom
blades.
lane, Dark Lady in some trouble. The Engineer Keg is going to miss, so just not perfect timing coming out of God KSSA.
Yep, Dark Lady's nearly impossible to kill with this lane. Like, they have so many stuns, but there's no way to catch him unless they land either a keg or a cannonball with no setup. They cannot stun him before he can E away if just the Rhapsody is initiating. So, I mean, this is what I like. He has boots, too, so it's not even an option to just sort of let him leap away and then chase him with the flick because they don't have the move speed to catch up. And Dark Lady is 9-0. I mean, sure, Panda's got 16 CS, but Dark Lady just hit 10. Like, they're not actually going to be able to shut him down, and the Andromeda is securing middle for the Pebbles even as we speak.
It's looking pretty good for the Pebbles there in the middle lane indeed, but Midas gets his bottle delivered. Gonna go hand it off to his good buddy there. No, actually didn't hand it off for checking the 4-minute rune. Maybe he'll make his way back over. Was just checking to see if there was a rune top, and Pebbles does have to start worrying now that Midas is for indeed the 1-1-1-1 build.
Yep. I think that's the way to go. It allows you to potentially get off 2 stuns in only about 10 seconds if you just wait for your Lion's Pride to cool back down.
Oh, top lane, Kraken's toast.
Yeah.
First blood coming out, going the way of Punk Pang,
Yep.
a.k.a. the very solid carry player we know as Wiku.
Yep. If you look at CS, he's doing pretty well. He's 18-7, Kraken 14-3, so actually doing better than I expected. I think they made a big mistake by not attempting to kill him with that first rotation in the Invis rune. They just forced out a health potion, which really doesn't do anything to a Silhouette because he's not taking any harass damage from Kraken. So he didn't need the salve anyway. Bottom lane, we've now rotated back. MRR with a pretty slight advantage, not bad. 1,000 golden experience, only 4.5 minutes into the game. But like I said, I feel like D-Dog's real time to shine is in the mid game, and I think the laning phase will certainly be a struggle.
It has been so far, and Midas hit level 4, made sure that he was going to get an initial transmute on Pebbles right there, just for the damage, and Pebbles had to use the rest of his regen. The bottle's completely gone right now, so he's not going to be able to get any CS really without the use of that hatchet for probably the next minute. Might be able to get 1 or 2 CS without being in significant danger, which is why he brings the Andromeda back.
I really like this Andrew's rotations thus far. Hasn't really made too much happen, but this Pebbles is even in lane fair pretty much with the Midas, and I think that was...
Oh, they're diving on the bottom lane. Cannonball's going to connect. The keg is there. The staccato stuns as well. Dark Lady gets the charge away. Fade was able to get the stun on just one right there. Mana burns down the engineer as well, but ultimately what matters is that Dark Lady got away. 50 HP.
Although, as you look, the gold advantage is still steadily increasing for MRR, and the only thing is they'll need to take objectives to secure this game, and it doesn't matter how big of an advantage they get, although we have seen Silhouette have some pretty incredible games, so the XP per minute mark actually broken in this tournament by a Silhouette, so definitely a hero that can snowball hard. It's just, will it be hard enough with what he's up against? Because, again, you just get so much burst and lockdown on this D-Dog side. We'll see. I think the Andro Fade picks will have to pay off, and they both need to start making some things happen just to secure that they don't fall too far behind, as it's already nearly a 2,000 gold disadvantage that they're up against.
2,000 and climbing. I just heard a TP going off right there. I guess it was somebody just making their way back down here into the bottom lane, although Kraken once more up top. Gonna go and I'm not sure if he's going to town or if he's going to stack Ancients. I think stacking Ancients would be a pretty good use of his time, but he's got the boots to make him back to town if he wants to. Pandemonium in the bottom lane. Yeah, he could be actually looking for an initiation right there, but of course he has a Beast Heart, and so it's looking like he's going to be going for that Helm of the Black Legion, unless he's going to be going for the Elder Parasite.
It's highly unlikely. I would really like to see him just finish phase boots early on. I think it would give him a lot stronger laning presence, because this Dark Lady just dies if they can chase him down after he leaps away. Or I guess I should say charges away. He's actually going to chase him.
They're trying.
Down. Yeah, but it's just, he can't catch him. And
top lane Kraken goes down one more time. Yeah. Hugbang is crushing this lane up here now.
That's going to become a big problem for them if they don't address that soon. Although the Kraken is level 7. He should have rotated out a while ago, but that's one of the downsides of this Suicide Kraken. You saw Quincy just kind of stating that he is not good as a Suicide, and I got to agree. We always ran him as either our 1 or 2, because when he's off lane, he's just not one of bubbles. You know, he TP's bottom, lands a coil, boom, you get 2 kills. Kraken, he TP's in, you're like, oh, shit.
He's
Run
walking
away, guys.
at me.
Yeah,
oh, no.
like, it doesn't accomplish anything for you, and it's not one of those heroes that can really recover very well and make space on the map. He needs to have a good laning phase, and that's not what's happened this game.
Not happened so far, and he of course did rotate out when he was relatively low on life. Decided he was going to go stack Ancients, but wasn't able to actually get the Ancient stack off. Maybe out of frustration makes his way back in the lane at 50%, and he pays for it. Pebble's going to combo down a small camp as well, and then Lord Mikhail going to be heading back to town. Don't have enough money to finish up his steam boots, but not nearly at that portal key just yet, 8 minutes in, as MRR are soaking up most of the resources for themselves, and they're actually farming all 3 lanes very safely right now. Yeah,
they're doing a good job. I mean, this is what they want to do. They want to extend the laning phase, which is what they're making happen. And this is good for them, because Midas, he's actually recovered. He's 38-11, so actually poorest on his team, but he's done a great job controlling runes, just ensuring that this Pebbles can't get a lucky haste or invis to make plays bottom. And, you know, they're doing their job. Both teams, I think, are sort of playing to their strengths, and they're executing their lineups as they planned, but it is getting to be a scary deficit that D-Dog's up against. 2,000 experience, 3,000 gold, and this Dark Lady's done well. He's got 30 CS. I mean, he's tied with this Kraken, and he's been, for the most part, pretty much alone in this lane with just a Fade to back him up with the stun if he gets dove, but they just need to make some things happen soon.
But here's the thing. You say he's done well at 30 CS here, and yeah, if you actually had this Dark Lady up against a tri-lane by himself, or maybe with 1 support, 30 CS is good. But that's under the assumption that somewhere else on the map you're dominating a lane, or you're at least going even because you've actually sacrificed your Dark Lady. That's not the case. Pebble's not winning his lane, and the Kraken is certainly not winning his, so he's done all right by tri-lane standards, but it's not nearly enough.
Yeah, for sure. And Midas, they're making all these plays middle, but he has a ward on both edges of the river, so they should know without a doubt that, or he should know rather, when he is safe and when he is not. So they're going to control the bottom rune. Fade's going to swipe an invis, but Midas might actually just go up for that refreshment rune top as his bottle is empty.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He had the haste there, so should be able to jog up. But that was an important swipe on that on the invis rune. If Midas had picked that up there, being level 8, that would have been a guaranteed kill.
Oh, for sure. I got to say, though, the Silhouette, he's just getting scary. 2-0, already has the Steam Boots and the Sustainer. It's only 10 minutes into the game, Beef, and as you can see, another 600 gold advantage they've just stocked up in about a minute and a half. So this, again, goes just back to the laning phase. I would have liked to see, and this is what's okay with me, because now you see Kraken, he's just sitting bottom, which forces the Hellborn tri-lane away. They needed to do this a lot earlier to secure this lane for Dark Lady, because now, yeah, sure, Kraken, you're just kind of sitting 4 heroes here, but at least this secures the lane. Pebbles is farming the jungle. He's able to nuke out middle. Not a big deal. You don't need to really do anything else on the map, but they really need to secure this lane, and I'm glad they've chosen to do so. And now the question is, do MRR fight back and try to make the first team fight for this objective, this lane in the bottom tower, or do they sit back and rotate out? Because there's really nowhere for this Panda to go if he's not going to be bottom.
Yeah, they might have to actually sacrifice the Panda a little bit right here. Could maybe go to Ancients, which would be rather interesting. But the Engineer had already rotated out a couple of minutes ago into the top lane, where he did actually manage to pull out 2 triple stacks for the Silhouette. So she just picked those ones up, and she is now very close to actually being at that 500 gold per minute mark, and it's going to take the top tower at the first of the game.
Yep, this is a good push. They needed to make this happen. And as they push here, 3 heroes bottom for them as well. So they're ensuring that no matter what, they're going to get at least one objective, and Kraken is rotating back up top. So he's going to get a little recovery here, but again, 4,500 gold. The experience has stayed relatively unchanged, but the gold is really the concern I have.
Lane, they are stalking this Dark Lady.
Yep. They will probably be able to kill him.
Oh, she's going to go ahead and use the Ghost Marchers and is able to get out of there. That was really well done.
Yeah, indeed. It's one of the most elusive heroes, and it's just so frustrating to play against. You just feel like you can't kill her, and then 40 minutes later, she's killing you. And this is exactly what they need to do. They're just pressuring the bottom tower. They're going to take this objective as well. MRR is really playing a lot better than I expected, to be honest. I thought D-Dog was going to come in, just kind of demonstrate that they were the better team and they deserved to be in the finals. But MRR kind of just showing that they're here to play.
Well, we are 12 minutes in. So, I mean, it's no secret that all of these Tide teams know how to play the early game. It's going to be about which ones demonstrate their newfound discipline and make sure to maintain that lead throughout by, of course, making sure that they're making the smart plays and not making anything too greedy and making sure to punish their opponents.
Yep. They do have a lot of catch and a lot of lockdown, but they have no real way to initiate unless the Silhouette or the Panda, maybe even the Midas grabs a Blink Dagger, and those are going to be a long ways off. So if they continue to play well, I don't think they'll actually be able to kill any of D-Dog's heroes as they just continue to farm and recover where they can.
Silhouette at 500 GPM, as Quincy says, and actually grabbed the Nullstone as the first item right there. So straight Steam Boots into Nullstone. What are your thoughts about that item build?
I like it. I mean, no problem with it whatsoever, and it's flawless for this area of the game. It's rather effective against multiple heroes on this Legion side, and there's really no better item to just kind of accelerate your farm as a Silhouette. And they're probably just going to keep pushing mid. I like this decision. I mean, I was talking about how, oh, wow. What happened there?
I am not actually sure, but they're able to grab the Andromeda on the backside. I think that he might have been just able to kind of catch on up, grab the flick. He does have the Ghost Marchers versus the Strider's Andromeda, so in any case, Andro down, another tower. That's now 4 towers in the last 4 minutes for the guys of MRR, already up to an 8,000 gold lead. They TP on back. One TP going to be coming into the top lane. Going to go for a deny, and Rhapsody will grab that deny. So beautiful play on all fronts coming out right now for MRR.
Yeah, I will say that if you look at experience, under 1,000 now. They've closed the gap by about 2,000 while this pushing was going on. And I know I said that MRR really had no push unless they started just attacking heroes, but they're making these moves very early on when D-Dog is completely unprepared to fight. So they can actually just press down the tower and take it, which is what we've seen now happen a total of 4 times. But it's just going to be interesting to see how this game continues. It is a fairly large lead. 25 18,000 total gold on the Hellborn side, only about 19,000, or sorry, 18,000 on the Legion, but it's all towers, you know, 4-to-1. So about 4,500 gold, maybe 60-70% of that advantage is just waiting on the map for D-Dog to take, which MRR has to keep in mind as they rotate 5 heroes bottom. But as we can see, Legion, D-Dog, they're farming top, their woods, mid, and they're getting a large experience advantage out of this as they actually take the lead in experience thanks to their split pushing.
Very important to be able to take over that resource control, because if you're not going to stop the towers, you have to be getting those resources somewhere else. And Kraken even going to be putting a little bit of pressure on this top tower. Dark Lady doing her best to push out the middle tower, maybe put a little bit of pressure on that. And of course stalling their opponents as well by keeping those lanes shoved out, saying, all right, you took our bottom tower, but if you want to go top, it's going to take you a full minute and a half to push out this wave. And during that time, we're going to push out mid, we're going to push out bottom, and we're going to take back our own jungle to try to even out the resources even more.
It's just going to be so difficult for them to go high ground. That's my only concern. They might try and force it now, but I imagine they're just trying to get them to rotate back, because they're going up. Pebbles has Blink now, so this makes this high ground push a lot more difficult, and especially with the Fade there, they have no sentries down. He's going to be able to initiate whenever he wants, just out of his invis. There's the stun. He's going to probably land the toss back. There it is.
Back into the Kraken ultimate, but he actually dives on out of there. Midas is going to be able to get the transmute onto Pebbles, and they do not want to fly into that dance floor. They're actually going to be able to make it back. The Legion do take the middle tower, but MRR, that was so dangerous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, right there, they lose the Panda and maybe one more, and I think that's just, boom, game is totally turned. There's the blink on Kraken. So this is exactly the point I made at the start of this game, where they both have blink now. Going high ground is nigh on impossible because they don't have any heroes that can just shove and force them to respect their ability to take the tower. And they're going to need to take Roche, and I'm sure that they'll get it, but will it be enough? Will they have enough of a lead to force high ground? Because like I said, mid to late game, Legion has a big advantage, and as soon as this Dark Lady gets Battle Fury, starts to accelerate, gets the Abyssal into the Frostburn, it becomes a lot scarier to team fight, because right now, all he's been doing is farming 0-0-0, 79 CS, a little under farm, not even 300 GPM, but he's responsible for the mid tower and the top tower that they've taken, so he's been doing his job.
He absolutely has, and imagine if Kraken had actually had the portal key right before that push there. Instead of having to literally dunk the Panda into the Kraken ultimate, he blinks forward, charges, then, of course, drops the Kraken ult on top of him. That's a dead Panda, and like you said, the momentum completely
If he was
shifted.
next level, he would have charged away as the toss was in the air and just literally, not dunked, but caught him at the towers. Boom. Free Panda.
The Kraken ult.
Exactly. But unfortunately, they are not quite that next level. An Ancient triple stack going to be taken out. Silhouette sitting on 3,100 gold. I'll be really interested to see what he goes for. I think he has to get a blink. And I hated the blink Millstone in the past, but it's just so good here because it gives them an ability to just make plays inside the base. Fight under the tier 4s, deep past the tier 3s without being super afraid. And right now, because you can obviously just blink in, use the combo, pour it out, boom, as they're hitting the tower. And I just don't know, is that what he actually chose to get? No, interesting. I feel like that might be a shield breaker because he just got the Warhammer and a teleport, and I would not be surprised to see a shield breaker. I'm just not certain that that's the item that'll win them this game. Gold and experience gains have held steady, and here comes the Kong.
Kong indeed, so we can all agree that coming up here is going to be a pretty significant split push necessity for the guys on MRR. They're getting to the point where they won't be able to take a fight. Does this Token of Life give them the opportunity to take that fight, to force that fight, or do they still need to use this to split push?
It's hard to say. I don't really know. It's funny because this game, if I could have projected this game, like I felt like I did, like this is how the game was going to end up. As you can see, MRR, group up, try and take towers, look to end the game early. D-Dog, never fight until you have to in your base when you have stalled for as long as possible. And that's what we're going to see decide the game in probably about 3 to 4 minutes. They're going to use the token to farm a bit, maybe take that tier 2 top, and then I do expect them to just run into that Legion base and hope to win the fight.
And whatever way that fight goes may very well decide the game. We'll have to see. Guys, I do want to remind you to head on over to hontour.com/worldfinals for all of your updates, scheduling, and of course all kinds of media. Lots of cool stuff coming out over there, from the news articles to VODs, and of course the brackets for this event in case you are just joining with us.
The Dark Lady just finished his cleave, by the way. 20 minutes, so a little slow, but considering his lane, I don't think that's that bad.
It's going to be really important for him to actually be able to throw out the
quick
the
comment
shove there.
He did not skill his ultimate yet, which I really disagree with. I really think that, especially at level 11, you should have level 2 ultimate, and I think that might really come back to bite them in the ass, as it looks like MRR is BKB silhouette, or Shrunken Head silhouette. This is the item that says, we're ending the game right here. This token, come and get it.
She's got 10 seconds to do the damage. Kraken and Pebbles are here, and it's a hasted Pebbles. Oh, not actually able to get in there. They get very, very low on that tower.
Yeah, it's. I honestly can't believe I didn't say something about that, but this is a solid item for what they're trying to do. See, Dark Lady actually taking the tier 2 and the courier. Wow. And look, the gold advantage is non-existent anymore. D-Dog putting on they're playing the draft exactly as they need to, and MRR now, this is their game. If they lose this fight, they lose the game.
And there's the glyph.
Ooh.
Pebbles is going to miss the stun on cooldown for 18 seconds. Nothing to fear. Kraken ultimate going to be going out onto the Panda, but Panda has no Shrunken Head. Huge Rhapsody ultimate, though. And here comes Midas. Transmute on 1. Kraken is going to fall. Down goes the Pebbles as well. Fade is in Viz, and Dark Lady going to be going in, but she doesn't have a Shrunken Head. Stunned up, and Panda is going to actually fall right here. Kraken going hard in the background. Buyback on Pebbles. He's going to come on in, and so MRR is repelled for the time being, but not without the expense of 4 buybacks.
Wow, that silhouette. Did you see how much damage he just output in that fight?
It was nuts.
And it was beautiful. Like, the Rhapsody ulti covered the Kraken ult. It was ineffective. The Engineer ult went down, and Silhouette was just slaughtering the entire Legion team with the Shrunken Head up, and they still have 2 minutes on the token. They're going to just do the exact same thing, except they forced out all the buybacks. And my comment before that fight started, yeah, exactly. Dark Lady took 2 tier 2s as they were posturing for that fight.
Absolutely.
So they got the advantage they were looking for out of that all-in push, but MRR won the fight. That's the key. And I really feel like the Dark Lady, still not skilling his ultimate, really just not good. Not good.
I completely agree with you. That ultimate could have tilted the fight in the favor of the guys.
Yeah, Rhapsody doesn't see the Kraken ult, doesn't know to ulti. Engineer doesn't know where the team fights position. They won't get their abilities off as precise as they did. And it might not lose them the game, but still, that could be very make or break.
And right now, if she hits level 13 and does not skill that ultimate, I'm going to lose my mind.
The Silhouette had bought a Firebrand, sold it in time, and actually picked up a portal key instead.
They pick up Andromeda. 20 seconds down, no buyout. She's not going to be able to help clear the wave.
Yeah. Midas sitting on 1,900 gold. I would have loved it if he would have sold
Silhouette's
something
just going high
and
ground.
bought a Sackstone, but oh well.
Starting to attack the melee racks here. Pops off
4 illusions.
Illusion
4
I
heroes,
guess.
yeah. I don't think they can fight at this Rax, and I don't think they plan on it. I think this is a good decision.
All right. And they're just going to go ahead and sack the first Rax. Already rotating in toward the middle Rax as they're leaving the range for the creeps and the illusions.
But again, if you see, their push is so slow. Dark Lady's beating on the tier 3 right now, and he's actually out-damaging the Silhouette. I mean, this is their push. It's just Silhouette in the base auto-attacking. So, again, it's going to come down to the fight. There's the stun.
Dark Lady's TP'd back. She does have level 1 ultimate now, and it's time for MRR to run. Fade's trying to chase him down. She has the Ghost Marchers. Will she get the interrupt on Engineer? She wants more. She's got her eyes on Rhapsody, but she's going to fall back.
I got to say, both of these teams, it's really a chess match, in all honesty, and both teams are playing their, I'm going to say their cards as they need to based on the hands that they got dealt. Maybe they're not playing chess. It's more like a mix of battleships and hearts, but this is how they needed to play the games, and I'm really, really happy with what's going on.
And here's the replay right there. You can see Silhouette able to get out immediately. And then Pandemonium going to be the first one taken out here, except Rhapsody Ultimate comes in, annihilates the Andromeda right there. The Kraken going to go down, and it was just gorgeous. Like you said, Silhouette was just pounding in damage.
Yep. And just to reiterate, like, the decision making's just been perfect, and obviously there have been mistakes, some pickoffs, poor fights, execution, whatever. But sacking that Rax was the best decision. They would not have won that fight, and it would have lost them the game. But letting just the melee Rax go means that now MRR cannot win this game until the next token and the next push, and that's going to be 6-7 minutes later. Look at Dark Lady; he's got his ultimate ready now.
He's got his ultimate, and he's of course got 2,200 gold as well. Does she go for a shrunken head?
If he can farm it, yes. In essence, he either saves for buyback or full purchases the shrunken head when they come in for the fight with the Aegis or the token, and that's just the decisions that he'll need to make. Kraken, nothing new. I mean, they have no new items in essence. Pebbles has 2,200. He's going to want to probably save for buyback. I really want to see Midas get a Sackstone. He ended up going for the Portal Key instead. I really think that that's a crucial item to have against Dark Lady. It's just +3 armor for the whole team. They also don't have a Ring of the Teacher, so it's 6 armor they're missing out on in this Hellborn team right now, and that could be a very, very big deal against all the physical damage from Kraken, TDL, and Pebbles.
Yeah, I agree. Need to start stacking up on those team fighting items. Instead, Rhapsody almost going to be finishing up a push stick herself. She's about 300 gold off of that one, so that could actually be very big for dealing with the Kraken or even the Pebbles. So definitely a solid choice, but somebody needs to have the Ring of the Teacher.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's an item you cannot neglect. It's so valuable for its cost. Easily the most cost-efficient item in the game if you're trying to build around your team. The Panda did finish his Shrunken Head. The Silhouette sitting on 3,000 gold, and they're going to just take this tier 2, which is, again, the right decision. They're not pushing too much as 5. The gold lead has held pretty steady at about 6,000, but as you can see, Dark Lady just pushing with Reckless Abandon bottom, and that's because he has nothing to fear at the moment. The Panda doesn't have a blink. The Silhouette does, but he's not going to be able to kill him himself, and he's just able to split push by himself. The Silhouette actually went back to base. He got the Firebrand. Looks like he's going to go push out bottom against the Dark Lady with his illusion staying top. If they want to fight them at this top tower.
Wow, this is awkward.
Oh, no.
This is so awkward. You got to say, what is going on here? And we're looking here on screen. The guys from MRR are on your right side. The guys here from the ACER Dog team on the left. And you got to wonder, Swindle, is this a hardware pause, technical issues, or this strat?
I think it was just unfortunate timing, and I also think this Dark Lady's dead.
I think that she's going to be in some trouble.
We'll see what happens.
She is able to get away. And you can always go back and wonder, if that pause did not happen, does she get that charge off?
Probably not.
Top lane, though, meanwhile, Rhapsody is actually picked off. They blew a Kraken ultimate on that, though. What do they actually do with this?
Nothing. They just continue to stall. I mean, again, both teams playing the game strategically very sound. This is what they both needed to do. D-Dog knows that if we're fighting, it's on our high ground. End of story. And they're not going to go out anywhere. They might try to contest this Kongor. I don't think that's a good idea. Especially when you have a Dark Lady, you want the fight to be in a choke point as close to your base as possible, so your ulti lands on everybody, and you can just charge through with a big silence, which is such an excellent counter to Rhapsody and Engineer. The silence lasts for such a ridiculously long time. It is a... Okay, lasts for 6 seconds, 2.5 second silence. Still ridiculous. That's nearly 3 seconds where Rhapsody and Engineer won't be ultimating. He just really needs to finish his Shrunken Head before this next team fight.
I mean, it's that duration where they won't be ultimating because they're dead. Dark Lady, she attacks them twice and they're dead, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And Kraken, speaking of dead, Silhouette and Pandemonium combined to bring him down. Shrunken Head was expended by Panda. But they're in the top lane. The middle lane is shoved out to the river, and the bottom lane is actually shoving in close to the tier 2. This is actually a pretty solid time. And remember, Kraken is dead. He does have a buyback. Ultimate coming up in 8 seconds. So do you actually go high ground, or you just shove this to the base and back?
You have to be very careful because they're not winning this fight. They need to just shove
As she blinks up the high ground vision.
No, but immediately ports out. That's what they need to do. They're trying to bait a buyback. They can't win this fight just yet. Dark Lady did finish her Shrunken. They're at 8,000 gold ahead, but remember, they were like 6,000
up. Panda's YOLO.
Oh, Dark Lady ult huge.
And Rhapsody going to actually get her ultimate off with the Engineer as well. Dark Lady going to walk back into the Engineer ultimate. That actually might be her dying. No, she's able to get the charge off.
He was Shrunken while it happened.
The call.
Yep. See, but they're okay with that. They lost in Andromeda. No buybacks used, and the push stopped. So yeah, they lose 1,000 gold due to that kill, but they'll take it because this buys them another 3 or 4 minutes. And honestly, at this stage of the game, I think Dark Lady would gladly trade 1,000 gold for 4 more minutes to farm.
Yeah, I think you're right. And as you said, the Shrunken Head did make sure that she wasn't going back and forth between the Engineer Ultimate, because that would have been a kill.
Yep. The thing is, Silhouette, no Shrunken Head. He's going to finish the Geos, but if he uses that and then gets caught by a Dark Lady Silence, he will die to the Shrunken Head of Dark Lady, and he's in essence 1 mistake away from losing them the game. He can maybe afford 1 mistake, okay? But any more than that, and D-Dog's going to take this game. I know experience dead even, they're 8,000 gold back, but again, it's diminishing returns because they were ahead by 6,000, 7,000 20 minutes ago. And that same advantage this late in the game,
they're going to catch this
it's
fade.
not nearly as much as important.
They saw her walk over a ward. They immediately dropped another one and then popped a dust about 10 seconds later. They are going to find her, and Bad Bats is going to die. Actually, Pebbles going to be coming in, and Dark Lady going to be able to get the silence. Engineer going to be the first one to go down. Silhouette is by herself fighting 3 in the background here. Dark Lady is going to be trying to get this kill, but Pandemonium turning it around. He's going to try to get the Pebbles right now. No, that's the Dark Lady, and Dark Lady turns it around. This is a massive fight right now for the guys on Dog. They're going to be able to clean up Midas as well. But on the backside, the Silhouette barely escaping Andromeda, the one to survive that onslaught. The bottom lane, the Rax is pushing in.
Did you get a camera on what Silhouette just did?
No, I was watching the other side of that fight.
He geo-dodged the Andro stun. It was able to kill Pebbles and Kraken as he tree grappled to the high ground to survive with 100 health. He is a player, and he is the only reason they didn't just straight up lose the game there, because he ended up, it was a 3 for 2. Or sorry, it was a 4 for 2 maybe? Yeah, I think the Engineer did go down, but
yes,
point being, they get the Ranger X bottom, not that big a deal, but the Silhouette survived, and right now, that's the hero. Look at the levels. He's level 9. Oh, wow, and he's in the base.
He's in the base.
This guy makes plays, man. I gotta say, I haven't seen a guy play Silhouette this well in quite a while.
You haven't seen a guy play this well until he beat you last year.
Someone beat us last year?
This team.
Really?
Dweeku. Played Puppet Master.
Group stage, man. It's not like we're going to get it. We're not going to lose in group stage.
Fade in trouble once more, and we'll go down to the Golden Salvo.
Oh, man.
And this will be a Kong.
Yeah, this is Kong. I mean, again, advantage the same, 2,000 XP now. That was a really nice fight by D-Dog, and I really like what Dark Lady's doing. He's just buying out. Screw saving for buyback. If you die once through your Shrunken Head, you're going to die again. Like, you lost the fight. You need to do everything in your power to defend the high ground. Let your initiators soak the first couple of ultimates. Let them die. Clean up. You can't afford to save for buyback, and I really like that. The initiators can buy back, but not you.
And Lord Mikhail has been saving for that buyback for quite some time. He is in. Oh, wow.
Reflexes.
That was some reflexes indeed.
Yeah, DD bottled, by the way, on Pebbles.
Man, the resources do not tell the tale of the game right now, Swindle.
9,000 gold. This is even, okay? If you consider the I always said that 10,000 was the minimum to have an advantage going high ground, okay? And they're right about at that point. And that makes this fight even. Even though they're so far behind, the positional advantage, the buybacks, this will be a very even fight, even with the token. And this really will decide the game, because at this point, one fight gives Dark Lady another item. And that's so scary. Silhouette, he's 1 item away from being 6 slotted, and like none of his other heroes are really going to increase in power level significantly over the next 10 to 15 minutes. The Dark Lady, the Kraken, like eventually, if they can just get established map control on D-Dog, they're going to win the game because they have so much initiation and they have a Dark Lady. And once he has the space to accelerate from 500 to about 700 GPM, they're going to take the game.
540 GPM, I think, is what Quincy had there, to be 14-0 on Dark Lady. So very important indeed. And something else important, their third initiator, Fade, just picked up the portal key. So they're now going to have the solid complement of that initiation. And of course, those Shrunken Heads, they're wearing down in timer.
Yep. It's just, and as you can see, MRR is thinking about pushing top. I would like to see them pick up a Bound Eye, but they haven't just yet. Not quite sure why. Silhouette's probably going to look to make some plays, but again, he's just 1 mistake away from really I mean, I don't want to say that he's 10-0-3. He's playing so
Dark
well.
Lady just used her shrunken head for no reason.
Oh, they saw it
They
too.
saw it. Absolutely.
Silhouettes in the
She was
base.
farming creeps. That is a massive,
He has
massive
no buyback
mistake.
either.
How do you engage now?
I don't know. They're going to just hit the melee racks, and this is
There's
really
no fear.
tough.
Dark Lady can't go in if you drop an Engineer ultimate.
Pretty much. I'd like to see them just move up and drop it like right now, but he has to be worried because Pebbles still can nearly kill him. I hear them going nuts, so something's about to go down.
They are going nuts indeed. We can hear him all the way on the other side of the building and on the back side. Fade behind. Will she be able to get the initiation? There is no Ward of Revelation down.
It's so tense.
And looks like the melee Rex is going to fall. No, Silhouette going to be able to tree grapple on away here. Midas trying to finish him off, but no, Andromeda is able to get the swap. Pebbles trying to get out of there, but Silhouette gets the chase on the backside, though. Engineer is able to get the big ultimate off. They're going to try to finish off Fade. It looks like she should fall, but here comes Dark Lady. 1 second left on that shrunken head. Will she pop it and go on in? There's the Taint Soul. Not going to go on in. Pebbles not able to get the combo off. In some trouble. Kraken charges there. Dark Lady with the charge as well. She's got the shrunken head going. Rhapsody Ultimate tried to save his allies, but she died herself. Silhouette still going ham. Diving to the well once more. Is able to take out Kraken. And is Silhouette going to be able to win the man fight? Just kidding. There's 2-on-1. Silhouette going to fall. Token of life. Bringing it back up. And meanwhile, the rest of the team backing out. Silhouette has no fear.
Yeah. The Pebbles had to
go
buy
again?
There.
I think they're going to go again.
And he blinks away.
Out.
He's playing so disciplined. In his head, I'm sure he's just counting the seconds.
And he gets the racks.
Well done with his illusion. That's exactly what he wants. There's no reason
This is
to stay
real
any
Silhouette.
longer.
She's manning up. She's manning up. Pebbles is here. Silhouette's in trouble. The discipline is over as Pumping is able to swap out.
Shrunken head in to swap out to remove the silence. Wow.
Oh my gosh. This guy's a player.
He's a player, man. Now that was the opposite of discipline. That's trying to be flashy, and he almost paid for that. They have 2 racks now, so he's now got a couple mistakes in his pocket. I'd say he could make 2. That would have been one of them, and they'd still have a chance, but nice. Perfect purchase. Buys out the wing bow. I love it. That is exactly what he needs to do. Every item he has is defensive, and when you're this far ahead, like it's just so perfect. No one's going to have the Savage Mace in time to negate that effect.
Absolutely.
It's also one of the best items to increase your DPS, and is specifically good on Silhouette once you have the Geos, because Geo's illusions only take into account your base stats, of which Wingbow increases the most of any other item but Conjuro.
Pretty solid purchase indeed, and of course that Dark Lady, like you said, not going to have the money for Savage Mace because she indeed just bought the Abyssal Skull. Wanted to get anything that she possibly could. You even see Fade buying out on a power supply. Like, they're buying everything that they possibly can because they know the next fight is the one that matters, as Silhouette just actually walks right on in here. The Torrent going to be going out, and they're going to try to stun down Silhouette. Are they going to actually be able to make this happen? She can get the Shrunken Head and the Geos off. There's the Dark Lady ultimate. She's just going for the racks.
I don't even know which one's real, man.
I don't either. There's so many of them.
He got the melee racks, though. That's what they were going for. Now they just back away, wait for the lanes to push in. They might try and force the fight.
They're going to get the Fade. It was gorgeous. And now the guys from D-Dog are going to have to back off. This is an invisible panda going to find the Kraken, and that's it. GG's. They're going to go for the team fight, but it doesn't even matter.
That was gorgeous play. Like, absolutely phenomenal. That was really, really nice to watch. I don't think that they could have played that game any better. And that was the sort of lineup where they couldn't just, no skill pub train at the tower with the Keeper or Tempest. Like, they had to outplay and not make any mistakes, and that Silhouette played a flawless game.
Punk Pang. Not bad indeed.
Not bad at all, man.
And the guys from MRR, I think both of us, were definitely rating them a little bit lower than Dog based on what we had seen yesterday. It's looking like MRR might be the bride finally.
I don't know. They finished second enough. Maybe they finally learned how to be first.
Or they could finish second again by making it to the grand finals. But, I mean, we don't even know yet.
Yeah,
Dog still got some tricks up their sleeves.
I'm just so impressed. Like, I don't want to hype this guy too much. His team played great as well. Like,
Sure.
you could see, like, there were 4 staffs every time someone got caught a little out of position. The supports played wonderfully. They had great placed ultimates nearly every team fight. But Silhouette, everything from his play to his decision-making in game to the items he picked up was flawless. Like, his items are perfect, and the order he went them made them, like, a lot of sense.
Sure.
Went for the early Shrunken, slows down his acceleration, but enabled them to take that first Rax, and then just made so many plays. So many plays, just really well done. I wouldn't be surprised to see this go to 3 games, and I do actually think that MRR is definitely the lesser experienced team, but I don't know. It's a good semi.
How can you call MRR the lesser experienced team here, though? Like, they've got some major players on them that have been to international lands. These guys have been to DreamHack. This is their 3rd GSL, whereas ACER Dog are the new kids on the block. They certainly looked a little bit more experienced right now, but I don't know.
I honestly, I feel like they might be the better team, but I hadn't really seen. I hadn't really watched MRR play, to be honest, so I'm not sure. That was the thing is that was MRR playing very, very well, and I think mostly the Silhouette just being very flashy, very good. I haven't seen their decision making be that crisp either, though. They made really good movements, and you could tell like they understood the timings they needed to hit, and they hit them, and they knew, okay, we're gonna pressure, try and force a bad back, like don't go high ground, and then when they needed to go high ground. They were in. Like they had 5 really heroes on the hill making the team fight happen, which is exactly what you want to do. So
really solid shot calling, very little hesitation.
Yep.
I mean, you saw multiple times that Punk Bang was just like, we need to be on that high ground. He said, don't walk, run. Just kidding, blink. Just blinks right up, starts attacking the tower, and that's where it needed to be. Yep. He was able to swap back out, so he had the discipline down. He had the escape mechanism, but it was just phenomenal from all sides right there. But ladies and gentlemen, I think we're actually going to be having an interview coming up here rather soon. But we're going to take a very short break. We got game 2 coming up. The guys from MRR leading 1-0 over ACER Dog. Will they make it to the grand finals here in Thailand? Or are we going to be going to a game 3? Stay tuned. We'll be finding out after this.